silver just spoke to my my sense of constructing stuff, putting things together, because the material can do so many things. You can get it in sheets or wires or whatever, or you can cast it. I mean, you can do anything in silver, and it's really difficult to find a place for silver in contemporary society. And I really like to take all the value and the properties and the functions and everything and put it in the context of today and see how can I make something that matters, or something that can help us. You know, what kind of role does silver play in today's society? Because I mean, my parents don't use silver. Right, this film is about the process from the idea to the finished piece. I quite like going back to how things are originally made, or, you know, the way nature constructs a tree is quite amazing. It was some wooden poles I saw on a beach in North Jutland. They're really weathered and raw and rough and have this sort of sand-blown feel to it because they've been on that beach for ages. I've walked past them many times and always thought I should do something with this. So I photographed them. My way of analysing is I draw the images or the photographs, because when you draw, you sort of find all the things that inspire you. Your hand and your eye sees those things. You can't really put it into words, but you just automatically, subconsciously don't draw the things that are not important, but you draw the things that are inspiring or important. And I just keep sketching until I think it's there. Right, then I choose one of them, the strongest one, the one I think is the one I can develop best. And then I start developing, I start thinking about the function, all the technical bits, how am I going to put it together, how is it going to fit, how am I going to make it. It's all the details. Is this corner going to be rounded or is it going to be straight? How is the surface texture going to be? Is there any, you know, how can I get the same feeling as the sketches or the drawings I did when I analysed it? So I found out that it was the surface and the lines. So how can I get that mood or feeling in the piece as well? I'll take that into my 3D program, Rhino, and then I'll draw a model, a 3D model in there with even more sort of detailed technical stuff, so that, you know, how much space is there going to be in between each of the strips, and how thick is it going to be. And it's easier to see in there because you can turn it around, flip it around and look at it from all angles in one drawing, and you get a really good sense of what it's going to look like as a finished piece. Then you order your material and it's time to start making. First I did the ring out of square wire that all the strips sit on. I hammered the surface texture on the edges of all the strips. So before I solder the strips onto the rim, I need to spot weld them on, tack them on each end so they don't warp or go somewhere else where I don't want them to go. I had to make a tool in order for them to stay in place. So I cut out a strip of copper and pierced out little slots so all the strips go in there and they were kept in the same place. Yeah. I tagged the strips on with the spot welder, and it kind of welds a little spot so that the two pieces are tagged together, so it melts a tiny little bit of each together. It's not strong enough to hold the piece itself, which would be really nice, but you have to solder it afterwards. First you need to prepare some borax, which is what I'm grinding, and then you paste that on with a brush, and you cut some solder bits. And I place each one individually on there, and it can take some time, and it's a bit of a fiffly kind of work. This particular soldering was really difficult because all the strips had different thicknesses, so they'll heat up at different different time levels, so that you need to heat the thick ones up more than the thin ones, because if the thin ones get too hot, then they'll melt. So that was really difficult to get the temperature of the whole piece the same at the same time, which is almost impossible because they were so close. So that was really, really difficult and a real challenge. After you solder, you put it in acid. The borax disappears and it goes from black to white. I texturize it with pumice powder and the toothbrush. Because it was so difficult, there were bits that didn't solder on the first go, so I had to go back and repair those bits. And I actually did quite a bit of soldering on it in order for all of them to be stuck on there. I grind it on sandpaper in order for it to be straight in the bottom. Well, the final finishing off is I round the edges with the file to sort of finish it off really nicely, and then I use a polishing steel to polish just the top rim of it, and then it's done. Finished. Well, it's always really exciting, especially if you haven't made a real paper or copper model of your piece, to see it come together, because even though I'm quite confident in my material and how it works together and how it will, I can imagine it being finished, you don't quite know you don't know the little details. So that was really exciting, especially with this one, because it was way outside my comfort zone, because it's so less functional and it's so much more of a sculptural piece. But I think I managed to catch the essence of my inspiration and get that translated into the material and into the piece. So I'm quite pleased. I'm quite happy.